Job.
Really? What are you with the podcast?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
It's job talk all day, all night.
We do job talk, and he has rights.
We ready to go, Big Show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joe.
Well, welcome to our new podcast, or our next podcast, I'm sorry. Job talk. And twice today I've already forgotten what we're talking about. But one of the things I thought would be a very, very good topic, and I'm sitting here, by the way, with Dan. Say hi.
Hi, people.
Larry.
Good afternoon.
And the Robin to my Batman, Jason.
Hello, podcast world.
That's only because he wears tights.
Yes. Yeah, and he likes it too.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking to myself.
Color-coded.
Pardon me?
They're color-coded,
Well.
sure.
With his underoos?
Yes, with his underoos. Yes. Granimals.
Ah, yes.
Oh.
Now, I was thinking to myself this morning, after I spit on the table, I was thinking to myself this morning, what's the one question I get most asked frequently? And it's,
Why do you spit on yourself, Joe?
that's the second most important question.
Big Show. Look.
Come on.
Oh, and Mr. Glover just poked his head in to say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
There you go. Now, the one question that I get asked a lot for all the years I've been doing this is, how's the market out there? And so I thought we would talk a little bit about the market out there, basically from two perspectives. The first would be that of the employer, and then that of the applicant. So, Dan, if an employer says to you, how's the market out there? What do you say?
I shoot it back to them.
Okay.
Because I don't know what they mean.
No.
So,
Sometimes neither
what
do
do
they.
you mean by that, Mr. Employer? Do you mean how's business going, or how's the talent out there? Or?
Well, let's address from the town side.
Okay.
Yeah. Is it a candidate market?
Jason, chime in.
Yeah. Is it a candidate market? Is it an employer market?
We'll take it
Like,
from...
is it hiring, kind of like the housing market? Is it a buyer's market or a seller's market?
And I tell them, if it's on the talent side, I tell them there's always good talent out there. You just have to find them, and that's why you are talking to me.
And the one thing I always like to really preach to everyone is the fact that the one thing that has changed over the years is that there is a shortage of talent, not people, talent. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing that has changed. And employers, whenever you're looking to fill, and we're talking about high-level or mid-level to high-level technical positions, when you're trying to fill positions like that, it becomes increasingly difficult. Heck, one of the hardest things to fill and to find is a 2 to 4 year experienced mechanical design engineer, because the good ones are hiding. Yep. And they're very, very, very difficult to find. So the one thing I tell an employer is that as far as the market is concerned, good talent is in short supply, high demand. Everybody wants them out there. And I don't know if you guys have seen that also. Larry, what about you?
Well, what I'm hearing from employers, I mean, kind of echoes what you're saying, is they'll get a lot of resumes for a position that aren't even remotely qualified, and the ones that are qualified, they're either way out of line in respect to expectations for salary and so forth, or their advancement, what they feel their advancement potential should be. But what you said in respect to lack of talent, they're finding that, hey, we run ads, we go on Monster, we see the same resumes. To find that needle in a haystack is next to impossible. Hence, I mean, that's why we're here. But it's not just from our end of it that we're making it up. I mean, we're hearing it from employers almost every day. And
a lot of employers out there fail to realize that you can't take a passive retail approach to filling jobs. And by passive retail approach, what I mean is let me put something on Monster, let me see what's on Career Builder, and I'll just sit back and watch the resumes flow. Just like that one thing on the radio advertises, go to Zipline Recruiters, or whatever the heck they call themselves, and the resumes just flow in. They don't flow in. Come on, if it was that easy, heck, I'd do it. It'd save myself the aggravation of the grief.
They may flow in, but all they do is use just keywords, but they may not assess their talent level. I mean, it's just, if they're looking for design, they're going to get resumes that just say, design, or may have mechanical and design, but they might not be the right
interior
fit.
Design.
Right, or the right software or anything of that nature. It's very cursory.
And as Walter Winchell would say, let me give you guys a news flash. Nobody ever hired resumes. You hire people. That's the one thing you can take to the bank. I don't care what you want to keyword this, keyword that. You hire resumes. You don't hire resumes. See, I'm doing it. You hire people, not resumes. You see, so that's the reason you cannot take a retail passive approach. You have to take an aggressive approach by recruiting. Recruiting doesn't mean posting things online, hope to God somebody answers. It's making phone calls. It's networking. You see, it goes back to what I always say, is that employers need to know if I'm going to try to fill a job and I'm using a recruiter, what are they going to do for me?
In addition, once that employer finds somebody that they like and want to hire and is hireable and
here we go.
did all the good things, then a lot of these employers say, well, I want a comparison, and they want us to put this candidate up on the shelf for 2-3 weeks.
And I want to say, let me go back to the machine shop and make another one for you.
Yeah. So they just think they're like a can of corn, when they're ready, well, we'll just hire them in 2 weeks.
I mean, you're allowed to have comparison. I don't have a problem with that. But when you say, this candidate is really, really good, he's my top candidate, but let me see if there's anybody to compare him against. Come on, that's not basically being realistic. You're dealing in a business that involves people, and the one thing that is really hard to replicate are people. It really is, guys. And so, the employers really have to understand out there that the market is tough in the sense that it's hard to find good talent, and when you find good talent, you may not have the luxury of comparison. You may not.
Nope. And the longer it goes for the candidate as far as the process, the easier it is for him or her to lose interest in that opportunity.
Yeah.
And they start branching out and looking for other opportunities.
Yeah.
So,
and the other thing I always tell an employer when they say how's the market out there is that it's as good as you want to be, as you want it to be. And if you aggressively want to fill a job, it's good. I mean, but you have to set your sights on filling the job. Have a deadline in place, have the hiring process in place, and know exactly what you're going to do when you identify a candidate. The worst thing you can do as an applicant or an employer is window shop.
But on that last point, John, I think also what an employer needs to do is set some reasonable expectations.
Amen.
In respect to the talent. I mean, they're trying to build the perfect monster, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
and if you don't have A through Z, you might be missing Y. They don't want to hire them, and it's just like, wow, there's no perfect candidate that way. I think expectations need to be set from an employer standpoint, and the ones that do are the ones that are successful in filling positions and retaining the people.
As a matter of fact, Larry, thanks for that. Let me give you Walter Winchell newsflash number 2. Perfect applicants and perfect jobs do not exist. Let me repeat that. Perfect applicants and perfect jobs do not, and I repeat it, do not exist. I agree with you entirely.
That means you, Mr. Picky Employer.
Jason?
that was Jason Apache, by the way.
Yeah, it wasn't me.
Keep me out of it.
Yeah, it wasn't. So again, just kind of in summary, in discussing this about employers and how's the market out there, the market is as good as you want it to be as long as you're ready to hire somebody. Number one. Number two, you got to make sure you understand that it's short supply, high demand. Have a realistic expectation of what you can hire based on your company, your location, your budget, everything like that. And then set your sights and a time frame to have the job filled. And when you find somebody, again, it's very reasonable to want comparison. This is America. Americans love to compare, yes. But there comes to a point where you can only do so much of it. You can only look at so many houses. You can only look at so many cars. Mm-hmm. You can only try on so many pairs of shoes. You see what I mean? It's like when my wife goes shopping for shoes. I mean, sure, you can collect, try on this one, try on this one. Okay, we've been here for 3 hours already. Let's go. Pick a pair and let's go.
Or you find that shirt in the store and you kind of hide it in somewhere else and you go look somewhere else for a different shirt. You go, I like that first one. Go back and it's gone.
Gone. Yep. Exactly. We're caught in a situation right now where this employer interviewed one of our app candidates, like him a lot, and they want to see what else is out there. And while the employer's out there looking at other candidates, another company is going after this candidate aggressively, and they may pull him off the market. And we told the employer, listen, I mean, we don't control these things. We report, you decide, as they say on Fox News.
Exactly.
Anything else, guys, you want to add from the employer's perspective?
Jason?
No, all I can say is when someone comes across, move, man, because they're going to be gone and the whole thing starts all over
Yeah,
again.
you
You're
might
back
not-
to square one.
You may not have the luxury. Just always remember that.
That's the key.
Now, I also promised that we'd talk about it from the applicant's perspective. So, Mr. Larry, I'm an applicant, and I say to you, how's the market out there?
The same answer applies as far as it just depends. I mean, what I tell applicants is, it depends what you're looking for, and so forth. Overall, it's a tight market. I mean, there is work out there. There is definitely employment out there, but in this area, it's very conservative as far as, number one, the dollar spent, and number two, some people just don't move with that sense of urgency. I mean, that's what I see in respect to the market. The positions exist and so forth, but the employers are in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Most definitely. It's not like it was 12 years ago where it was vice versa, where there was just a huge demand, or rather, more jobs than applicants and so forth. It's vice versa. There's definitely less applicants. I guess I said that wrong, didn't I? Yeah.
I don't know.
Anywho,
I drifted
basically,
off.
the employers have an opportunity to be choosy. They weren't able to be choosy 12 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the need. They filled it. Boom, boom, boom. Everything was rocking and rolling.
Yeah.
The employers are in the driver's seat. That's what I tell people. And also, what I also tell them is they got to be reasonable in their expectations as far as job seekers go too. I had a gentleman just recently, not working, found a position that is pretty much a dead-on match, as people say around here.
Dead on.
Yeah, dead on. Almost the same amount of mileage that he had.
Speaking
driven.
of dead on, did they turn the air conditioning off in this place?
Dead off. Dead off.
Dead off.
Well, I'm ready to pass out. Go ahead, Larry. Sorry.
No, it's
We
okay.
digress.
Oh no, we do that every day.
Yes.
Almost the same amount of mileage
Is that
for
prune
the
juice?
position,
Damn.
and he turned it down,
Yeah.
and only because it was in a slightly more congested area as far as traffic went.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, you're not working,
Yeah.
and you don't even want to look at the opportunity. I run into these things. It's
Wonder
like,
if-
wow, you just scratch your head. How serious
I
are
wonder
you?
if his unemployment office knows about that.
Don't know. Don't know.
But one thing that Larry's brought up that's a very, very good point is that the same principles that apply from the employer's perspective apply with the applicant as well, in the sense that employers need to have a realistic idea of the market, of what they could get. Applicants have to have a realistic idea. Everybody is overworked and underpaid. Everybody is. Everybody wants to roll out of bed and go to work. Walter Winchell, newsflash number 3. It doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. You got to approach things with a degree of flexibility. You got to look at the opportunities, not just the dollars and cents and how close is it to my house. I mean, heck, I'd love to, walk down the street 2 minutes away from where I work, but that's just not the way it's going to be. You got to look at opportunities. You got to look at challenges. You got to look at what's good for your career at this point. Everybody in the market, when people looking for jobs, are all in certain points of their career, beginning, middle, end, somewhere heck in between. And you got to always take a look at this. If I take this job, I've been working for 10 years. I got a lot of more years ahead of me. Is this a good career move for me? Is this the right step at the right time? God only knows if you're going to be there for 20, 30 years. Who knows anymore with jobs? But the point is, you just got to have a real good idea. If I take this job now with my 10 years experience and something happens that I look for another opportunity 3-4 years from now, is it going to be a feather in my cap? Is it going to be a good addition to my resume? That should be more important as to whether or not, oh, geez, I got to drive through the Fort Pitt tunnels. Oh, my goodness me.
Yep.
I mean, come on already, So that, so the things that tie into employers' perspectives on the market and applicants' perspectives on the market always should be about the same.
Yeah, they
Parallel each
intersect.
other. Yeah,
Be exactly right.
Absolutely.
Exactly right. Jason, you've been awfully quiet.
Yeah,
tired.
you guys are covering all the bases that I have to say things about, so I'm just going to sit and wait for my opportunity to strike.
I think with
Okay.
with the applicant though, is the market's good if you want it to be good. And what I mean by that, you can't be testing the waters
Right.
or have 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out of the door. You have to be absolutely 110% ready to make a job change. Then the market's good. Not testing
Yeah.
the waters, that type.
Oh, I just want to see what's out there.
Or
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
however you want to say it, can
Yeah.
be said in different ways.
Yeah.
But the market's good if you want it to be good.
Yep.
Yeah, through recession, depression, or booms. Market's how you perceive it, really.
So, going back to where we started this whole thing, was it all started with, how's the market out there? And so what we say is the market is as good as you
Perceive it.
to
And
be.
make it.
And make it. And thank you, Larry, because that's really the correct thing. I mean, it always amazes me when we talk to employers that say to us, well, I've been looking to fill a job for a year. I think to myself, Jesus, you could hire me with my medieval history major, and in a year I could have figured out how to be electrical engineer or mechanical engineer.
Really?
Probably not.
I could.
But the point is, I mean, you have to have a realistic understanding of what's out in the market. But again, if you need to fill a job, you will. If you need to find a job, you will. So,
Yep.
Is there anything else, gentlemen?
And you got to understand when you're dealing with guys like us, we're always finding them openings. We're always finding the things that best fit the needs that you're looking for. That's our goal. And when we do that, the market might be great for you individually.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Very, very good point.
Yeah, I mean it's your skill set. It's what the client's looking for, what the market is in need for. So it's very individualistic as to what your need and perception and what you can do and all that good stuff, whatever else we're trying to get to here. But that's the key too. It's the right time, right moment, and what you're ready to do type of situation. I think.
That was deep, man.
Yeah, very deep.
Very deep.
And with that,
So
we will say good night, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. Hope to see you next week.
Hopefully.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
goodbye, Podcast World.
Podcast.
Podcast.
Gas.
I didn't know where to jump in on that one.
Should have jumped out.